Hey, I'm Dean, and this is Legacy Voyage. In Season 1, I'm documenting my journey to earning my first 100K net worth as a full-time college student. Join me as I share some of the lessons I learned along the way. First, let me get a little update on what I've been up to with Mana Ecom. I've been working on the email sequence for them. I recently sent Mo a couple questions about what stories we can use in the email sequence, and once he gets back to me with that, then I'll go through that and try to write out the email sequence or the email campaign. Then I also sent in the video sales script, and they want to make a shift to make it a little more genuine in the way it's delivered. And I think the way we can do that is by implementing more personal stories of Mo, where he can really put himself in the customer's shoes and take them on this journey of why e-commerce is so powerful and why they should definitely work with Mana Ecom. Now with Coach V, some of the things I've been working on there is that I've started writing the webinar for him. That's really my main priority right now is to, by the end of the week, I really want to have the content of the webinar done, polished, then sent off to Nadia, who will do some of the graphic design work. She'll basically make everything super pretty, which is super good. And then we can work on building the actual funnel, getting all the operational stuff done next week, which will be setting up the payments, getting traffic, start sending out invites, getting the Zoom meeting up and running, all of the operational stuff like that. We'll get that done next week. Now, the thing I really want to talk about in this podcast episode is this concept or framework that I learned called the Hero's Two Journeys. And I learned this from Russell Brunson in his book Expert Secrets, which he learned from Michael Hogg, who is a Hollywood director, movie writer. And basically, with this framework, we can apply it to every story, movie, musical, play, and it breaks down the components of it so we can be better storytellers and we can share our stories to invoke more emotion. And the idea is for the next couple minutes, I'll do an overview of what the framework is all about, and then I'll apply it to a movie that I watched recently called Creed 2. So first off, one of the biggest lessons I learned is that in every story, there's three parts: character, desire, and conflict. And the emotion comes from the conflict, which is crazy to think about because in every story, when there's no conflict, we don't like it. If there's no conflict, then there's no emotion and we can't connect with the story gets boring and we don't want to watch it or listen to it or anything. That's the first big lesson, is that the emotion comes from the conflict. Now, another lesson is that in every story, it's very important to build rapport with the character in the beginning. Because if we don't like the character in the beginning, we're not going to like the story and we're not going to root for that character in the end. So for the first, let's say 10% of when you're telling a story, when you're watching a movie, it's always important to build rapport with the character. And there's a couple of ways to do this. The ways that they talk about in the book is number one, the characters are a victim. Two, they could be in jeopardy. Three, likable, funny, or powerful. Those are 5 ways that we can build rapport with the character. I also learned about the desire, and there's 4 different desires that the character can have. They could either win something, retrieve something, escape, or stop something. Those are the 4 type of desires that they can have. These are the desires we can apply to every single movie we've ever watched ever. In every single story, the character is going to go on 2 journeys as they try to accomplish their desire and as they overcome their conflict. There's 2 journeys. The first one is the actual achievement of their desire. But what's important is that we don't actually care if they achieve it. We don't actually care if they win the championship or if they lose the championship. That doesn't matter to us. What really matters is the second journey, which is the internal change that's happening on the inside. The transformation that they go on, that's going on the inside, and why they can change. And this is super powerful because when we start telling stories using this framework, this is when we can really evoke emotion, when we can really connect with the audience. After I learned this, the next day I was watching this movie called Creed 2, and man, it literally went word for word, bar for bar, exactly what the framework was talking about. So in the first 10%, we were building rapport with the main character, who is Adonis Creed. If you haven't seen the movie, I don't really want to explain the whole thing, so probably go watch it. Maybe I should explain it. Let me give a very brief overview of what it is. Basically, if if you've seen any Rocky movies, Creed is a continuation of that. And there's this dude who's the main character, Adonis Creed, who's trying to win a title, or he's trying to remain the boxing champion. And a challenger comes up, challenges him. He loses. Then in the end, Adonis wins, and he's able to succeed. So that's a brief overview. Now, this is the important part of applying this framework to that story. The first 10% of the movie, we're building rapport with Adonis. Because this is Creed 2, and we already know Adonis from the first movie, this is super easy to do. We're already connected to Adonis. We're already trying to root for him. We already want him to remain the champion, the boxing champion of the world. So we already build rapport. He's a super powerful, super likable character. Now, the conflict he runs into is some Russian dude who is the son of the dude who killed Adonis's dad. So Adonis's dad and Drago's dad, they fought, and Adonis's dad lost. Not only did he lose, he died. And there's this conflict where now the sons have to come together, and they are going to be put up in a boxing ring, and they're really going to go at it. But the huge thing here is that in the process of accepting the fight, Adonis loses his teacher, he loses his mentor, his coach, but he also loses a relationship he has with his wife and his mother. So he goes through with the fight, they go and fight, and Adonis loses. He didn't technically lose, but he gets knocked out and hospitalized. He didn't have the help from Rocky. Mans just gets smacked. He gets super smacked. So he's in the hospital, bruised eyes, broken ribs, bad kidney, all the bad things. And later we learn, after he gets healed up, that he's gonna be a father. He has a daughter with his wife. Then they move to LA. The really big thing is that after he lost, he lost this connection with his wife, and he lost this connection with his daughter, where he stopped being there for them. Then he goes on, he's able to reconnect with his coach Rocky, and Rocky teaches him, this is what you need to do. We're gonna go in this fight, and we're gonna win this thing. So eventually he goes to the fight, he's able to win it, he's the champion of the world, and that was his desire. He was able to achieve this external desire. That was the first journey. But the second journey, the one that's more important to us, is that he reconnects with his wife. He finds the importance of fighting for himself, because at the very end there's this powerful scene where he goes to his father's grave. He's like, Dad, I did it. I was able to beat him, but I want you to know what I did wasn't for you, it was for me. And that's super powerful. That's super deep. Because that was the second journey, the internal change, where before he was always fighting for his father, but now he's fighting for himself. He's fighting for his family. He's fighting for his daughter. And that's what we really connect with. And that's why I thought the movie was super good. This is the framework I'm trying to apply to Coach V when I'm writing his webinar. And I'm also trying to start telling stories like this, because it is crazy powerful. If you can have the right character, build the right rapport with that character, run into this crazy huge conflict, and have this desire at the end that they achieve, and this internal change. If you can have all the components of what a great story will have, and put it all together in a way that it connects with the audience and they get the message, then so much power and so much potential is there. And I can't wait to keep working on that, to apply that to Coach V. But till then, I'll keep you all updated. I'll talk to you.